Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of Hand of Fate 2. This is a new game that just came out yesterday. If you have been around my channel for a while, you may remember that I played the original one a year or so back. Absolutely loved it, it's a fantastic game. Couldn't wait for the second one to come out, so I eagerly picked it up the moment it landed. I guess if you're watching this video on the day it releases, it'll actually be 2 days since the game came out, but still, it's a very, very new game. I never really know how to describe Hand of Fate, other than it's an RPG, I suppose. Combat takes place in the form of real-time third-person action combat, but the interesting thing, the sort of the twist, is the way in which the sort of dungeon is laid out, so to speak. So essentially it's a collectible card game, and you are playing against the dealer, who, for want of a better term, is sort of the game's antagonist, voiced by the same actor who played him in the first game. Absolutely fantastic voice. The script writing is fantastic as well, works very, very well. And it's the dealing of the cards that determines the equipment you get, the enemies you face, and basically the layout of the dungeons. I have played this for about 30 minutes, but I'm going to be starting again from the beginning for you guys. The combat, which is probably where the first game suffered a little bit, because it was quite simplistic, almost like Arkham style combat. Left click to attack, right click to block. You had a special action and a dodge. They've added a little bit more now, because the special weapon abilities are much more useful. You also have finishing moves as well, and I find on a keyboard it's a little bit tricky when you're using WASD to move, and then you've got to hit ER and F for your sort of abilities. So I'm going to give this one a go with a controller. There's very few PC games that I play with a controller, mostly third-person open-world adventures, things like, you know, Grand Theft Auto and The Witcher and stuff like that. Normally anything where you have to aim, I prefer using a mouse and keyboard, but we will try it with a controller and see what it's like. So let's go in and start a brand new game.
Your memories are fading even now, gone to form the soul of the game we play. These pieces are new, as are the stakes. Life, death, and vengeance. We must ride, for time is short, and you have much to learn. Make your first choice, and let us set these wheels in motion once more.
So I will try and avoid speaking over the dealer because he's got such a fantastic voice, but there may be the odd time where I do end up speaking over him because he does sort of cut in randomly. So in this game you can actually choose your character. At least at the beginning you can choose whether you're male or female. You couldn't do that in the first game, you just got stuck with what the sort of pre-designed protagonist. So let's go for male.
These cards represent your history and our game. We know where they end, for you are here. Therefore, these cards must guide you to my side. Let us see what the journey holds. The fool steps into nothingness, because they know no better. In the same way, you must step into the void. You are a blank slate, and together we will write your history.
So you saw that card had a golden token on the bottom. Essentially any card that has a metal token on the bottom, if you complete that card, that token will essentially unlock a card or a similar card that you can add to your deck. So it is a deck building game as you go through. So you've stumbled many miles through this forest in search of the thieves who robbed you. Though exhausted and hungry, you are determined to reclaim your father's amulet. You finally catch sight of the thieves attacking a large tree and arguing amongst themselves. So as you can see, there's a 4 of greed and the leader. So it's basically four trash mobs and a boss. We can either try and keep our distance, or we can move closer to eavesdrop. Well, let's try and move closer.
Every element of the game has been improved.
3 chances of success.
At first glance familiar. Do not worry. You will soon understand the nuances.
See what I mean about the dealer. So 3 chances of success and 1 of failure. I think that's a success one. You can, to some degree, keep your eye on where the skull is moving, and most of the time you're okay. Creeping forward, you overhear their leader spouting orders. It's simple, he says. The idiots walk down the road, you push over the tree and jump out. They'll be too scared to put up a fight and we'll get rich. Why don't we just jump out and stab them? One retorts. Another hooded figure chimes in. Yeah, corpses don't put up a fight either. Frustration rises in the leader's voice. The Empire doesn't care if a few farmers lose some sprouts, but drop a corpse on the royal road and the place will be filled with soldiers before they've even spent the coin. We don't need that trouble. Now quiet, here they come. The 3 of Toil. So they're the good guys, they're sort of allies. You soon spot a group of farmers coming around the corner bringing their wares to market. The thieves fell the tree into the path of the unsuspecting farmers and leap out, weapons brandished. Give us all your food. We can leap to the farmers' defence, we can offer to help the farmers, warning them that it won't come for free, or we can help the thieves with their extortion. Well, of course we're going to help the farmers, aren't we? So we draw our weapon with practised skill. Well, you hear the leader's voice. You lads handle this, I'll meet you when you're done. So now we get into the first bit of combat. Now, I'm using screen capture to record this game because it just seems to have a little bit of a frame rate issue. It seems to stutter every now and then, especially when it's loading, so hopefully that's not going to cause too many problems with the recording. Thugs. Violence for the sake of violence and theft for the sake of money. Thieves attack frequently and can evade standard attacks, making heavy weapons less effective. So, this is my first time actually using this with a controller, so let's see how this is going to work. So, finisher and weapon ability on the trigger buttons, which is much nicer than having to reach across to R and F for them on the keyboard. X is attack. B is bash, which is basically right click. So X and B is left click and right click. Bash is essentially a block breaker. Y is defend. But you do have to time it right, and A is evade. And we can move the cameras around as well. Okay, let's give it a go then, see how it works. So whenever we see this green marker, like that one, I need to time it better. And basically press Y to evade the attack. There we go, I managed to pull it off that time. Does take a bit of getting used to. Right, I was going to say they should have a finisher there that we can do. Now, I did definitely press Y there. I'm just really bad with my timing. See, I definitely pressed Y there again. I don't know what it is. I'm really struggling with the timing on this one. Definitely much more tricky than it was in the first game. Maybe, hopefully it'll come with a little bit of practice. The farmers fumble in their haversacks in gratitude. Thank you, adventurer. I'm sure that after they took our food, they would have taken our lives as well. So now we gain some fortune cards, well, supplies cards. So there's 12 food. You fall on the food with a sigh, shoveling bread in your mouth to quell your hunger. Your satisfaction lasts only a moment before you realise your father's amulet is not among the takings. We consume 1 food. The leader must still have it. You set to your feet, determined to find him. So every time you move to a new card, it reveals a new part of the event. Also, every time you move to a new card, you consume food and regain health. If you don't have any food, you will lose health. So we're going to go ahead and... there's a map apparently as well. Oh, so we can just zoom straight in onto the table to see it a little more clearly. Okay, that's interesting, because in the first game, the game was kind of played from this angle. This sort of weird side-on angle makes it it's interesting, but yeah, not as easy to read. Anyway, let's move to the next tile. So we lose a food and gain 10 health. While enjoying a moment beside the fire, you spy a strange figure approaching your camp. It's a goblin, dressed in what must pass for goblin finery. From beneath a filthy fox pelt serving as an ill-fitting wig, the goblin winks at you with wild red eyes. Aha! I've been roaming for hours trying to find you. We must get this over with quickly if I have any hope of getting to all the people on my list before sunrise. It lowers a sack from its shoulder. Now, from within my sack I can conjure whatever your heart desires. The goblin's voice trails off as he examines his sack. Well, I could if there wasn't a blooming great big hole in it. His head disappears entirely into the bag and his bulbous nose protrudes from the breech. A new plan then. The goblin pulls out the last of his trinkets. So we can either pick a shield, a sword, or an axe. Now, we already have a sword, we already have a shield, but they're both pretty terrible. I think I'm actually going to go for the shield, though, because having a better shield will be useful. This shield has 10 defense. Current shield only has 4.
Simple defense. You can do better given time.
But there we go. We've now got ourselves a better shield. A wise choice. Now I must go, for there are many others I must visit before I can rest. The goblin runs off into the night, his foxwing flapping in the evening breeze. You can change your equipment in the inventory. Indeed I can, but I don't really need to. So inventory is... what now? Is that select? It is, it's select. Okay. So we don't need the inventory. So, okay. Let's move on. Again, consumer food, gain some health.
Has a token. Can you find it?
Your journey through the forest is interrupted by an inquisitive child. Are you searching for the forest folk? My uncle says that they used to walk these woods giving out gifts. I want to find one and ask for a lemon cake. As they dash off to peer under a nearby log, the child shouts back, remember, if you meet the forest folk, get me a lemon cake. In the other direction, an eerie song hangs in the air. You attempt to find its origin. So again, 1 chance to fail and 4 chances to succeed. And I get the failure. Typical. You spend hours travelling in circles until night falls, bringing an unnatural silence to the forest, and we consume 1 food. That was unfortunate. When I tried that last time, I actually pulled it off. I just missed where the skull went. I would have got the token if I'd have done that, but we'll get another opportunity to do so later.
Nothing could be more fitting now than meeting the mage who started this all. Or at least, started it all for you.
A trail of fallen trees and distraught farmers leads you to the thieves who have stolen your amulet. It seems their infighting has only gotten worse. The bandits surrounded their former leader, weapons drawn. Everyone will get their fair share. There's no need for violence, the leader implores. Whoever heard of a thief talk about fair share, spits one. You turn up and boss us around. We've barely stabbed anyone. It's been days since I stabbed someone. Days. The leader notices you approaching and waves you over. As much as I'd love to continue this discussion regarding stabbings, I'm afraid I have urgent business with my associate here. As he greets you, he whispers, keep me alive and there'll be plenty of gold for your trouble. Tell him gold cannot replace the amulet he stole. Tell him he will pay in blood for his thievery. Well, we just want our amulet back. He holds up a finger. First rule of negotiation, never let them know what you want. Kill my associates and I will gladly return your amulet. Ever reliable, the thieves draw their blades to mug you. The leader hurries away to hide. Give us your stuff or we'll stab you up, growls one of them. You consider your options, fight or give them all your food and gold. Well, that's not happening, so we're going to go and fight. You draw your weapon and prepare to deal with the miscreants. Tip, perform a quick riposte by attacking immediately after defending an enemy attack. Right, in we go. 1 on 4. There we go. Managed to get the counter off that time. And that time. Sometimes, of course, if you can just hit them quick enough, you don't have to worry too much about the counters. Also doesn't help at the moment that my character looks kind of generic, so I look a lot like those guys do. There we go. Managed to get the block done there. Getting my timing better. Right, I do have my weapon ability, which I can use. So that's like an instant death. There we go, got them all down. Took a few hits. Certainly managed to defend more shots than I did the first time around. With the battle resolved, the leader nods in approval at the carnage before him. He holds out a hand. My name is Malaclips. Bard extraordinaire. His smile fades under your withering glare. Sensing your anger, he raises his hands in surrender. Wait, let's not be hasty. We're on the same side here. I am an upstanding citizen just like you. I've been working with the thieves, yes, but only for the greater good. No, really, they were killing people before I came along. I know it seems bad, but look. He pulls out an amulet from his pockets and presses it into your hands. All is forgiven, yes? You stare at the amulet. It does not look familiar. Oh, Malaclip says, scratching his head. He opens a small satchel. So, which one is yours? So, we actually get to choose our amulet. Now, I didn't get as far enough through in my first playthrough to find out how this exactly affects you, but I went for the eagle, so I'm going to do that again. The eagle amulet, that suits you. Very similar facial structure. Say, you know what, I'm lonely, you're lonely, we should work together. You have befriended Malaclips the Trickster. So you actually have allies in this game as well, which you didn't in the first. We should probably get to know each other, seeing as we're going to be friends for life, Malaclip says. Tell me, where are you from? So this is basically our character creation at this point. So the first thing we can do is actually choose where we're from, and this will change our sort of facial structure. I'd like to go with that guy right there. We can also then choose what sort of haircut we have from the few different options that are available. We can also change the colour of his hair if we want to. We'll stick with the dark hair. We have an option to change the amulet again at this point, but we'll stick with what we already have. And we can change the colour of our clothing. I actually quite like these sort of white and red, so we'll go for that one. And we're basically done. So now we have a character. From the Eastern Belt, eh? You don't say. Good sorts from the Eastern Belt. Very trusting. Oh, by the way, I mean, we, friend, owe... let me try that again, because I screwed that up, didn't I? Oh, by the way, I mean, we, friend, owe money to Vignus of the Thieves Guild. He's quite angry at us. We should journey to Maya Bridge together to appease him. Some gold might help. Although, come to think of it, I'm rather busy. Malaclip's eyes are pretty trader hiking up the road, so it'd be best if you get the gold and I meet you there. Okay, so we will move on.
Let us learn what sort you are. Strong? Clever? Wise? The circumstances under which you come here put the lie to that.
So, arm wrestling. You enter a competition of strength at a fair. A gold prize is available to the winner. In the first round of the competition, your opponent is the diminutive Roland, a halfling from a travelling troupe of acrobats. So, this now introduces dice. Dice were not in...
These dice are another small game embedded in our game.
As he's just said, dice were not in the original game. So, this is a new thing. So... we're going to roll the dice. I didn't even see where they landed. We only got 8, but we can re-roll a dice. Can we re-roll several dice? Let's re-roll these 2 dice. We'll keep one of the 3s and hopefully do a bit better. Yep, there we go. We got enough. First time I did this, I rolled a 12.
Learning.
There we go. So that was a decent roll. Roland is no match for your strength. He gives a disappointed backflip off the table and collects his meagre winnings, then cartwheels out the door. We gain 10 gold. Very nice. You take your reward from the purser on the way out the tavern. When you return, you will compete. When will you return to compete in the next round for a larger prize? Right, so we know we need to head to that corner card, so we can either go up or we can go right. Let's go up.
Water is a symbol for the many thoughts that churn beneath the surface.
While crossing a stone
What
bridge...
is it you're thinking of? What concern is worrying at your mind? Let it fall into the waters beneath.
Is he done? While crossing a stone bridge, you suddenly find yourself confronted by a villainous band. It is the Four of Steel. You could stand and fight the fiends, or throw yourself into the mercy of the river below. I'm going to stand and fight. Steady your weapon. Far more likely to get something useful from these guys if we beat them in combat. Hopefully I won't take too much damage along the way. So these guys are actually a little bit better armed. These are guards. The first line of defense against any who would question the Empire. Empire enemies wear armor that reduces damage by 3, rendering light weapons less effective. And once again I failed the counter. Didn't fail that time though. Didn't fail that time either. Oh. Tried to use my finisher ability. Not my finisher, my weapon special ability there. And for some reason it didn't trigger. Not too sure why. Obviously I screwed something up. Now at the moment the combat is still quite basic, but it will definitely get more and more complicated as the game goes on. But there we go, they're all dead. I didn't lose all of my health, so that's not too terrible. Having spilled your enemy's blood, you search the bodies for anything useful. An armory game card. So basically we have a sword. So it's a little bit better. Against Northerners, riposte deals 125% damage. Excellent. Perform a critical strike. So after 10 hits, I can do a crit strike that does 250 damage on a single target when activated, which is slightly better than the 225% damage on my current sword, although that only required 9 hits. It's still a better weapon overall, so we will go ahead and take it. We also get 20 gold. So let's move across to this card. I'm not going to bother with the
celebrations in aid of what? You see how quickly the actions of the usurper are turned into tales for children.
Nearing the sleepy hamlet of Dulwich, you find the villagers in the midst of some kind of celebration. Much of the activity concerns a large paper and wood statue depicting a fearsome warrior looming triumphantly over a prone lizardman. We can follow the parade, ask a local what's going on, or carry on our way. Let's find out what's going on. A friendly stable hand explains, in a bygone age, our town was beset by half-man, half-lizards. There was no food, no respite, and very little hope. Salvation came in the form of a nameless warrior who hunted the beasts for little more than a handful of coins and a crust of bread. He smiles warmly at the festivities. We honour the warrior like this. The statue is filled with food and gold, and we take turns smashing it to bits with a club. You're welcome to join us, and you may keep whatever falls out. Sounds like that nameless warrior may have been us in the first game. The parade and statue are winding their way into the town and almost out of sight. Let's follow the parade. The parade ends up in a town square. You watch as the villagers take turns smashing the statue with a club and gathering the food and gold that spills out. A local notices your interests and asks if you would like to take a turn. Sure, let's join in. It'd be nice if we can keep our eye on that huge success card, but I'm not too sure where it is. And I'll get the failure again. Every time. When I did this the first time around, I actually got the huge success. You wield the club with all your strength, however blindfold affects your balance and you bring the weapon down on your foot. Excellent. Ah, now we take a very nasty card. And we lose 10 life. Well, that's unfortunate. Engulfed in shame, you leave the town to their celebrations and hope no tales are told of this day. Well, in this case, let's go down to the other card because it will give us some life back. It will use some food.
Deadly since the Empire has come to power, despite their promises of the opposite.
The road ahead is blocked by an overturned carriage and a woman calling for help. Please help, she cries. I've been robbed by a band of thugs. Is there anything you can do? We can refuse to help or try and assist the distressed woman by rolling a 12. Let's give it a go. We get 3 dice. And we did not roll a 12. Let's go ahead and select re-roll these 2. We got a 14. Okay, good. Thank you, the woman says as you help her from the carriage. Please accept this as a token of my gratitude. And we gain some extra food. And we actually gain some health. Cool. That actually helped out. You thank the woman and continue on your way. Now we can go back onto a card we've already been on. You won't get to replay that card. Did that actually cost us food? Ah, they've changed that mechanic then. In the first game, you could continually hop backwards and forwards between overturned cards, and every time you did it, you would consume a food and regain a health, which did in some ways make backtracking a little bit of a pain, because you'd sometimes waste a lot of food backtracking to unturn a card you'd missed. So they've now changed that. Interesting. Anyway, on to the final card.
Here we come to the end of the beginning. Running errands for mages. This will become a theme, I dare say.
You arrive at Maya Bridge as the sun begins to dip below the horizon. You find Manaclips pursuing a selection of cheeses by the market. Ah, if it isn't my good friend the adventurer. Did you bring the gold? Vignes has arranged to meet in the graveyard. Go to the graveyard. You wonder whether the spot was chosen for its seclusion or for easy body disposal. Vignes meets Manaclips with a sly grin. Looks like you turned up after all, and with the lackey in tow. We had our doubts, you know. Vignus cracks his knuckles and giggles. Well now, Malaclips, convince me. What's to stop me from cutting off your head today? So he is the anarchist of greed. You reveal your gold as Malaclips scrounges in his pockets for some too. The heavy satchel of riches lands at Vignus's feet with a thud and echoes through the silence of the cemetery. Lose 40 gold. That's our deal done, Malaclips says. Malaclips says, worry obvious in his voice. No need for any further troubles. I'm sorry, Mal, Vignus grins. You should have known the guild was never going to let you pay with cash stolen from our members in the first place. So, we're now against the boss, plus 4 of his lackeys. And bosses always usually have some sort of special ability to attack. And there he is. Vignus the Crazed, treacherous and greedy, a dangerous combination. Anarchists throw flaming bombs that cause fire damage. Your armor is no use to you here. So there's going to be a lot of dodging going on. Obviously we don't want to stand in that red circle. There's a little bit tricky to get out of sometimes. I want to try and get him down first if I can. What I'm trying to do here is mostly stay out of other people's way. Now, oh, ow, that hurt. Oh, taking a few hits here that I would prefer not to be. We might have to sort of try and... Yeah, there comes the bomb. If you stay your distance from him, he will basically throw a bomb at you. So you really have to sort of get in nice and close. Oh, that's going to hurt. Okay, now we're in trouble. Actually, he is pretty... Oh, left trigger finisher. I don't think you can also be interrupted while you're doing your finisher. So anyone trying to do some damage to you is going to be in trouble anyway. We got hit there, so I couldn't use my weapon special. Got 26 health left. 19 health. We should be able to do this. There we go. They're all down. It was messy. It wasn't pretty, but we got them all. Malaclips scratches his chin thoughtfully. It seems you could do with someone savvy to help you navigate these tricky matters of diplomacy, like maybe killing everyone wasn't the best idea. Come, let us discuss our partnership over an ale or two. So, we get the token for the full card.
Done. You have cleared the first challenge, and now we can move on to the next.
So that unlocks a blade and a shield. Both of those will go into the armory pool. This also gives us some extra cards that will essentially go into our deck that can appear as events within the dungeons, including tarts, pies, and exotic lies. What do we have here for befriending Malaclips? We get Malaclips' problem, which looks like some sort of quest card, and the trickster, which is Malaclips himself.
Welcome to my challenges. Together, we will traverse 22 paths of wisdom and despair in the hope of awakening.
Right, well, that is the first challenge completed, and just in time, because we're well over the 20-minute mark. So when we come back next time, we can crack on with the Magician. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first video of Hand of Fate 2. Feel free to go and look up my playthrough of the first one if you like, because that'll give you an opportunity to see how this game started out. And I will see you guys next time. So, until then, goodbye for now.